I'm Ashley.
I'm Jonathan, and we're at Tiny Shiny Home.
Our family is working towards building an off-grid, sustainable homestead here in the desert of Arizona.
Today, we're going to take you through a much-requested update of our permaculture Berm Swale project that we installed 3 years ago.
How are the trees doing, and what challenges has each monsoon brought?
How has our property changed, and do we plan on doing more projects like this in the future?
We'll look at our progress and recap the highs and lows of the past 3 years.
Ready? Let's go. If you haven't seen the original Berm Swale full install video, we highly recommend you pause and go check that out. It was such a journey, and we learned so much trying to realize our dream to green the desert.
Here's a quick recap though. What exactly is a Berm Swale?
It's a depressed trench or swale on contour with your land that catches flowing water, as well as a mound or berm on the opposite side.
By planting native trees along the berm, we can create fire and windbreaks, privacy screens, food forests, and even mulch and firewood over time. The tree's roots fortify the berm and allow us to catch, store, and most importantly, divert water during heavy monsoons to safe areas here on the property.
This means we're creating more organic matter, which leads to the soil storing more water, which leads to sequestering carbon and reducing greenhouse gases. Plus, the concentration of trees leads to increased diversity of wildlife and habitats, which creates a symbiotic relationship with the land.
This particular Berm Swale was strategically placed on our property to protect our house and divert the water into a future swimming pond.
And of course, we just wanted to test this whole idea before we went and put berms and swales all over the property, just to make sure it worked before we got too deep into it. The first thing I think we need to say up front before we get started is the reason we haven't done an update yet is just that this is a really long-term investment.
Yeah, a lot of people want to see the start of a project, the middle of a project, and the end of the project in the short 20-minute YouTube video, and that's just not the case with something like this.
Yeah, we're dealing with sort of real-world time constraints here, and like we said, this is going to take a really long time. Think decades, not years.
These are the kinds of projects that you're building for your grandkids. I know we are. And things take a long time to grow in the desert.
As you'll see, each year can swing wildly between too much water, not enough water, heat waves, storms.
You never really know what you're going to get.
Also, we want to make really clear, because we had a lot of very nice comments in the last video that were like, you did it, you greened the desert. And guys, listen, we got to make sure we set the record straight here. The desert greens itself every year.
Yeah, we live in the high desert, so every monsoon season our land gets incredibly green and lots of grass and lots of plants, and it's not by anything that we did, it's just the monsoon rains.
Yeah, now obviously we do want to see long-term effects, and we're going to talk about what those look like, but just so you know, just because you put a Berm Swale in doesn't immediately mean you're going to green the desert. Like we said, this is a very long-term process.
Berms and swales are not a new technique. They've been around for a long time, and we did not come up with this idea.
True, yes. They are ancient ideas that are sort of getting noticed again because we're having water shortages all over the world, and so people are taking a look at these ancient practices and trying them out again.
Because of this, we can do some digging and see what really happens over a long period of time when a berm and swale are placed or an irrigation pond is dug.
You may remember Rudy, our permaculture specialist, who helped us design our property, including this Berm and Swale. He was kind enough to share this exciting deep dive research to show how permaculture can really affect a landscape over decades. In his talk, Contouring the Earth, Rudy focused on 3 local berm, swale, and pond installations. The first, and probably most famous, is the Civilian Conservation Corps swale outside of Tucson. These were built about 100 years ago, and you can clearly see them carved across the landscape. When Jeff Lawton visited, the area outside was dusty and dry, peppered by creosote bushes with shallow roots. But in the swales, the soil was deep and rich, with 20 to 30 foot tall mesquites and dense grass. Remember, the idea behind a berm and a swale is to increase the organic matter in the soil. When that water is captured and seeps down in, it can have a big impact over time. For every 1% increase in organic matter per acre, 20,000 gallons of water and 8 tons of carbon can be stored and sequestered in the soil. The second is another 100-year-old swale outside of Bisbee, Arizona. Here you can see the green line that runs across the entire screen from corner to corner. This was probably created for livestock around the same time as the CCC swales, again with 20 to 30 foot tall mesquites, but what is really exciting is the dense, lush grass that has extended back nearly 200 feet from the original swale. So here's where we start to see that profound impact that a swale can have on its environment over a long period of time. Finally, this third property is also west of Bisbee and truly an oasis in the desert. This large livestock irrigation pond was created by damming up runoff from the neighboring mountain, creating a biodiverse area full of multiple grass and tree species. You can see here again the expansion of grasslands out from the pond. It's beautiful.
We did try to get Rudy out here for this video, but our schedules just couldn't line up. We are all really busy.
We are. But the good news is that Waters Life Design, his company, is growing and they are taking on new clients. So if you need help planning your own Berm Swale or your own permaculture project, you can get in touch at waterislifedesign.com. So what about our Berm Swale?
Well, we're going to take you through the last 3 years and show you the progress.
We started installing our Berm Swale during the spring of 2022 and finished just as the monsoons were starting. 2022 ended up being a historically wet year and we got multiple 100-year events in a very short amount of time.
It was really cool to see this work exactly as intended, catching that sheet flow of water, keeping it from flooding our future house site, and then infiltrating quickly back into the soil.
As many of you noticed, we were seeding the berms and swales with a local mix of grasses and flowers that Rudy recommended, but as we were talking, our free-range chickens were picking them off right behind us. Lesson learned. The chickens are now staying in their chicken garden, so this shouldn't be an issue in the future.
Either way, native grasses still found their way onto the Berm Swale and did pretty well the first year.
The second year could not be more different. 2023 was one of the hottest and driest years on recent record. We had unbroken stretches of 100+ degree days and 0 monsoon rains.
As you can imagine, some of the trees got pretty crispy and didn't grow very much.
Compounding this, we were having some issues with our solar water pump, and so the trees weren't getting enough water on top of being really hot and dry, and it just wasn't a good year.
Not a good year at all.
All right, friends. We're back out at our little pump house today. Last summer, we updated it with a bigger pump. And the reason we did that is because we noticed we were having a little bit of trouble with the pressure on the emitters. And so we got a more powerful pump. And crucially, there's one thing I missed when we installed it that basically meant that what I did didn't actually help. We have always used these faucet connectors to go from the water tank to the input of the actual pump. And that's worked fine for all of our other pumps so far, but when we upgraded this more powerful pump, and as you can see, it looks like it's thick enough, but by the time you add this situation here, it's actually constricting it. So we're switching to the hose barb, right, with the full flexible tubing, the 1/2-inch flexible tubing. So I'm hoping that this will give it more suction. It'll be able to pull more water so it can push more water. Right now we're kind of artificially restricting it with this hose. All right, pump kick time. That's all I was waiting for, was for the pressure to come out.
That brings us to 2024, and this year it has been somewhere in between.
We had a few significant monsoons, plenty of cloudy and cooler afternoons, and that combined with a properly working, higher powered water pump allowed us to switch to a deep watering schedule that was much better for the trees.
As a result, we've started to see some real visible growth as the trees start to mature and get well established.
This year, we finally got around to reseeding the berms with that proper mix that Rudy recommended. The chickens were not out, and so it's done a lot better. So let's talk about all the issues we've had trying to keep the Berm Swale healthy over the last 3 years.
First, like we mentioned, was the water pump. Seems like a no-brainer, but getting the proper amount of water to your trees on the right schedule is important. And at the end of the day, it wasn't even the pump so much as it was the pipe size from the tank to the pump itself.
Second, providing that much water. Since we don't have a well, we rely on rainwater catchment and hauling from a local well share. We did actually move the catchment tank to be filled with rainwater off of our solar shed roof, but during the summer we just can't catch enough. So we needed to refill the tank pretty often. This isn't an issue the rest of the year, it's just mainly during monsoon season.
Third is pests. It turns out the chickens weren't the only problem. Nope. Rabbits love new trees, and so we quickly had to put cages around those trees to protect them from getting nibbled on.
And even though we had that really hot, dry summer in 2023 where we did lose some trees, we actually realized that most of the trees we lost weren't due to the heat. It was from squirrels and gophers and whatever else that were burrowing into the berm and just decimating the roots.
You know what that means? We need more cats.
Other than cats, not sure how much we can do about that, but as the trees get bigger, it should be less of a problem. Fourth, freezing. Even though we did get freeze-tolerant species on purpose because we are at 5,000 feet, we knew that could be a problem. Still got us. A couple of springs, we would have a warm-up and then a random late freeze, and it really stunted a few of the trees, which was kind of annoying. So I think we need to do better about getting some sort of cloth over top of them if we know that that's going to happen again.
And the fifth problem is our dogs.
Yep.
Guys, I don't know if it's everybody's dogs, but our dogs turn into this horrible cartoon of fury every morning where they just roll around and run into things.
They run as fast as they can in circles all over the place, and they have definitely ripped the irrigation lines a few times as they're running over the berm and through the swales and up
running into the trees and causing problems.
And our solar panels. And guys, it's a whole thing. I mean, we love them, but they're a little destructive.
They're a problem.
Thankfully, it's easy to fix the drip irrigation tube, so no harm, no foul. And actually, we just finished fencing off an 1.5 acres that they go play in now so they aren't messing up all of our stuff.
Yep, we're keeping the dogs.
You may remember during that original project, we opened up the opportunity for people to sponsor a tree.
Yep, this was our Tiny Shiny Tree Collective, and we learned a lot on this process.
We did. We made a few mistakes. You may remember that when we calculated the length of the berm, we did corner to corner, and then when we moved it, we didn't adjust, and so we thought we needed 100 trees. We needed 50 trees, but we already had people donating 100 trees, so we ended up planting them on the back side of the berm, which you normally wouldn't do.
Since we had so many trees and not a lot of places to put them, we actually ended up giving several trees away just to local neighbors who could use them. Yeah. And they were very much appreciative. And
we ended up putting them in some in your cactus garden and some off the berm, and like we said, some on the back of the swale. There's a whole thing. So we feel like our Tiny Shiny Tree Collective deserves an update.
Yeah.
So we're going to walk through the berm and the swale, and we're going to look at each tree, tell you which ones are doing good, which ones died and we replaced, and which ones probably need to be replaced. Yeah?
Okay.
All right, tree number 1, desert willow. Doing really good. Of course, we have a bunch of desert willows on the property already, so it kind of had a leg up.
Number 2, we have a honey locust. The leaves are changing because it's October, but it has not grown very much. It's still alive. It's just all of them are really short. Number 3, we have a cypress here. The cypress have done really well. This one is especially tall, like it. One thing I don't love, but is doing really well, is this Alderica pine. Is that what it's called?
Alderica? I don't know.
Alderica.
This one's actually doing pretty good, but the more we thought about it, I don't think we want a bunch of pine trees on our property. They grow really well, but they drop sap and I don't know. This will be firewood probably.
Eventually. All right, next one. This is a mulberry. We have not got any mulberries off of it, mainly because we have birds.
Number 6, the eucalyptus. Now, can we talk about the eucalyptus? Because we've had so many people leave comments about how these are going to destroy everything on our property and they're not going to grow. They're going to kill everything underneath it. And they're going to use all of our water and they're going to start a fire and burn the property down.
Nope.
There are different strains of eucalyptus. This one is specifically built for the high desert. Number one, it's been growing great. All of our eucalyptus are probably the biggest trees in the Berm Swale. Second, no problem underneath. Everything's growing fine. Third, it's not using any more water than any of the other ones. And fourth, I can see how the oils would be a problem if you had a huge forest of them. But we just got like one here and like one over there, and it's fine. Not a big deal.
And they keep their leaves year round, so they're beautiful.
Very pretty.
Number 7. You can see there's nothing there because it died. Can't remember what it was.
Oh, I'll tell you what it was. Hold on. Also an Elderica pine. An Elcadera pine. Sorry. I should say it right.
What is it?
The pine tree.
Is it Elderica?
Elcadera. Elcadera pine. Anyway, we've lost a lot of the Elcadera pines, just so you know.
Elderica? What did it say? It one more time. I can't remember.
Elcadera.
Okay, I thought it was Elderica. Okay, this is a Chinese hackberry. Because I forgot what it was. Good thing there's still a tag on it. What number was this? Number 8. This one's doing great. Look how tall it is. It's beautiful. Oh, there's a giant grasshopper on it. You want to see that? Number 9. Another mulberry. This is the one that we had a late frost in the spring, and you can see that the top is dead, but the bottom is not. So we'll trim it down in the fall, and it'll grow back beautiful.
Number 10. This was also a pine tree that didn't make it, so we've replaced it with a bird of paradise. It's very small. It's just getting started, but it's doing okay.
Number 11. Another cypress. It's doing great. Nothing to report.
Number 12. Which one is this? The honey locust? This one's doing okay.
That's the best looking one that we have.
Yeah.
Number 13. What was this one?
Hackberry.
This is another hackberry. It's doing great. Nothing to report.
14. Yet again, the Elderica pine, whatever you call it, didn't work. So we replaced it with a century plant. It's going to be cool.
Okay, number 15, honey locust. As you can see, it's pretty small, but it's still alive. I say that's a success.
Also, as you may see, the swale is full of stuff, just stuff everywhere. So, doing its job.
This is beautiful.
This is the next one. Was it 17? 16 eucalyptus. As you can see, they're doing really, really well. I really like the eucalyptus.
Honey locust.
Honey locust you've ever seen.
It's still alive. It's just not growing.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's still alive.
The roots look like something got to it.
Maybe.
I bet it would pull out.
Nope, we're gonna keep it there and see if it comes back.
We totally missed one. Number 17 is on the outside of this mesquite. It's another desert willow. It's doing pretty good. Okay, we're getting back on track. Number 19, eucalyptus, doing good. And then across the way,
20, cypress, great.
number 21, this is a white mulberry. It's doing okay. Its trunk is pretty good size, but it's not super tall yet.
Number 22, a chase tree. These are actually doing really well. We did lose one later on that I'll show you, but this one is doing great. And the seeds, I just keep taking off and spreading.
23, Elcadera pine.
Elderica.
I don't know how you say it. It's okay. It's doing all right.
It's a little short. Number 24, yet another eucalyptus that's doing fantastic and not burning our homestead down.
25, red mulberry. Same thing. Nice big trunk, but it's not super tall yet, so it's doing all right.
Number 26, another chase that's doing really, really well. And we just take off the seeds and throw them.
So this is number 27. This is a cypress doing well, and then right next door, number 29 is the eucalyptus. We're hoping that both of these are gonna grow up really tall because they're doing well and they will help shade the super adobe dome. You probably remember we had a little trouble keeping it cool this summer. Still got a few years, before that happens, but should be good. Now number 28, back over there.
Cypress, doing great. It's a little bit smaller than the other cypress, but it still looks very healthy.
Number 30, it's another pine. You can see in this one where some of the frost has gotten to it. It's got these little dead parts in it, but it's still growing pretty well. We're really gonna have to do better about covering these if we have a late freeze in the spring. 31, honey locust. They're not growers, you know what I mean? But he's doing pretty good considering some of the other ones. Then 32, this cypress, not doing great. It's probably our smallest cypress. And then 33, this was one of our mulberries and it did not make it. So we have actually replaced it. Is it another mulberry? With another new mulberry. That's why it's a little scrawny. It's brand new. Next year it should be a lot better. And then behind us is...
What number?
34.
34, another giant eucalyptus that's doing amazingly well here on the homestead.
Because we had so many trees, we had to split off here. We actually came down off the berm and we put another eucalyptus here. This is number 35. Doing great, eucalyptus. Doing really well here. And then a hackberry here at number 36. It's doing okay, but I feel like it hasn't grown a whole lot since we put it in, maybe a little bit. So that is what we'll call the South Berm Swale before the culvert. And now we'll go take a look over at the north.
Welcome to the north side of the berm. This is number 37. It is a male mulberry doing very well. Very happy with that one. 38, another chase tree. 39 is the saddest honey locust that you've ever seen. It has not grown at all in 3 years. It produces leaves every year, and we have high hopes that maybe one day it will grow.
Or we'll replace it with something.
Well, it still has leaves. It's alive.
Is it though? Look at that.
No, that's not. Down here is alive. We'll trim it. It'll come back.
This is number 40. It was a pine tree. Hold on. Remember how we talked about roots getting damaged? Yeah, gophers definitely got that one. So we put a desert willow in, but it's also very tiny and not doing great. But we have high hopes for the desert willow. They just don't die. They like grow out of dead trees. They're super weird.
41. This used to be a chase. This is the one that got eaten by yet more gophers, right next to the other one that got eaten by gophers. But we replaced it with a Chinese elm.
This is our tumbleweed forest from our outdoor shower. It's apparently what grows when you just throw water into a swale. This is number 42, hackberry. This one's been doing really, really well. I'd say everything from about here up is just from this year alone. So yeah, pretty excited about the hackberry.
Number 43, another eucalyptus that's doing great. Also, 44, another eucalyptus that's doing great.
Look at this guy. I mean, not bad.
45, the original cypress. It's doing great. You can see it's almost as tall as I am.
46, pine. This one's doing okay. You can see it definitely had a rough spot there and there and there. And then there was one right across the way, but it did not make it.
Nope, this used to be pine, but it is now a desert willow. This is the desert willow. It's gonna have really dark purple flowers. I'm real excited about that.
Backside, we got number 48, eucalyptus. They all do great.
49, honey locust. These two are actually doing not so bad. The leaves are changing because it's fall, but it's still alive and healthy.
Number 50, the saddest pine you've ever seen. Still alive though, hasn't died yet. 51
was the only eucalyptus that we had a little bit of problems with. We just trimmed it back and now it's coming back so good. 52, another honey locust. These are the ones that are actually doing really well.
53, pine. This one looks different than the other ones, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah, it just looks different.
Bushy.
Yeah, it's bushy, but it's okay. And then back across behind you, Jet. Big eucalyptus.
Yep, very healthy, fat trunk.
That's 54.
55, cypress. Tall, but scrawny, and still alive. Okay, ready? We gotta remember what number we're on because our phone just died. 55 is a chaste. That's the original chaste. It's still doing great. It's a little bit small, but healthy. 56. Can't remember what that was because our phone died.
I bet you it was a pine.
Probably. 57, the original pine, healthy.
58, cypress, doing pretty good.
59, mulberry. Still haven't got any mulberries because the stupid birds keep eating them.
but that one's huge.
Yeah.
60 is another pine. It's skinny, but it's doing pretty well.
61. Another sad honey locust. It's alive, just small. This is one that got hit with the frost, but I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's got a nice big trunk on it. I think it's doing pretty good.
We can't remember what number. We'll put the numbers here, but this is a eucalyptus.
One of the nicest looking eucalyptus.
That's my favorite tree.
65. Cypress, doing pretty well.
66. Another hackberry. Very tall. Doing great. 67. A little bit small eucalyptus, but doing great.
68. A very bushy eucalyptus.
69. Cypress. 70. What was that called?
Honey locust. They're all about the same height. Have you noticed that? All the honey locusts? It's like they don't want to get taller.
Maybe like next year they'll grow tall.
Maybe they're scared of the wind.
This is a number that we'll put on the screen, and that tree is doing good and it's healthy and alive. And then the last, desert willow. A little small, but doing good.
Now we did have a couple
5.
in your cactus garden.
5. They all died.
They did not have drip irrigation, and we tried to keep up with it, and it just didn't work.
Nope, we tried very hard. Actually, I think we maybe overwatered and some of them got root rot. But
we're learning. We're learning.
Yeah.
But that means we're not going to replant over there. It's just not a good spot. We don't have a way to maintain it and keep it watered right now. So we didn't show you, but there's a few spots around the Berm Swale where we've added a few more
to replace the 5.
To replace those 5, yeah.
Different clothes?
New day. Got a little dark last night.
Yeah.
And we just finished laying bags on our Hyper W round house.
Which explains the sweat.
We're a little dirty, but we're gonna wrap this video up for you.
Yeah, back to the Berm Swale.
Yeah, as you can see, the cutting and the berming and the planting of the trees and the watering them, it was all really just the beginning.
Yeah, this is going to take years to see the progress, but now with all the knowledge that we've gained over the last 3 years, we feel like we can go on with bigger installations and keep seeing the changes in this year, but also progress on down the road.
Yeah, now that we know long term, it really does work. Like, we're going to stay committed to this. We're going to keep working. We're going to make it happen. Just might be a few years before you get another update. Depends on how it goes.
Since sharing our original Berm Swale video, we've noticed that a lot of other people are implementing their own Berm Swale projects too.
Yeah, permaculture is taking over and we love it. Here's the thing. What's so great about this is that if we all do our own little part to green our little space, it all adds up to like a really big impact. And that's what's so powerful about this online community.
What are our long-term plans?
Well, I think this has been a success so far, even though we lost a few trees. But like the whole idea, obviously it works. We have plans to do more berms and swales. And if you may remember, the whole idea of actually this right behind us is that it will overflow into a big natural swimming pond for our house.
Which may be eventually connected to a lazy river for Jonathan's request.
That is my dream. Lazy river permaculture. Natural. Anyway.
Solar powered laser. What's it called?
A solar powered lazy river.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But listen, we have to finish our house first.
Yeah.
We are knee deep in our huge Hyper W Rent House project, and we have promised ourselves that we're going to have a little project here and there, but like that would be such a big project.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We have to finish the house before we move on. So we will. It's just give us a little bit more time. We'll get there.
Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed the update, and we hope that you'll subscribe and stick around because there's always something fun going on here on the Tiny Shiny Homestead.
We'll see you soon.
Got no issues, it's kinda nice. Like running water into a paradise. Got no drama, feels like we arrived. Picture perfect, it don't exist. But when I'm with you, don't have to question it. True devotion. Oh, I like the thought right back. I could fly, I could fall, I know you got my back. Never thought I would find someone to love like that. Like that, like that. I like that. Way we laugh till we cry to keep our love intact. Take a ride, turn them back so we can say